In my courses, students wrote about a teacher of news writing who years ago received a -448 on an exam in her magazine editing class. Students also did stories about a professor who colors as a hobby. And they wrote about an amateur astronomer who likes to sleep. All of those stories were about me. My name is Yulia Medvedeva. I'm good at writing and bringing creative mass to spaces I inhabit. I'm not very good at cooking and at yoga. Help. When my students wrote about me, some of their stories started with something like, Yulia Medvedeva is a teacher at Zayed University in Dubai. Well, in this video, I will show that this sentence is not a good way to start a feature story about me. In fact, I will argue that this sentence should be at least in the second paragraph of a feature about me. After a brief explanation that I'm not a narcissist, I hope, this video will gradually introduce you to the feature story structure. To do so, the video will first provide the main facts you might learn after interviewing me for a story. The video will then address some of the ways to start a feature story. More specifically, the video will talk about writing a feature story lead, also known as soft news lead. After that, the video will find a proper place for the sentence, Yulia Medvedeva is a teacher at Zayed University in Dubai. We will learn that such a place is called an art graph. Finally, the video will explore some of the ways to build the rest of the story. So, why stories about me? Well, at one point of the semester, my students need to practice on someone how to ask questions and how to turn the answers into a short feature story. To avoid casualties, I let them practice on me. Of course, I will then need to read a couple dozen stories about myself. This can be quite painful, particularly when stories start with Yulia Medvedeva is a teacher at Zayed University in Dubai. Now, back to the feature stories. Let's imagine you work as a spokesperson for the Dubai Astronomy Group. You are writing a personal profile about one of the members of the Dubai Astronomy Group. The member is Yulia Medvedeva, who teaches news writing at Zayed University. She joined the group back in July 2019. You just talked to me for a personal profile, and this is what my story was. Back in 2016, I was teaching a magazine design class. I collected various local magazines to show as examples to students. By the way, most of the magazines I still have are missing covers and certain pages because I gave them to students to analyze for the quality of design. One of the magazines was Majarat, that was published by the Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center in Dubai. At some point, I started reading Majarat, and when I ran out of Majarats to read, I watched a couple of YouTube videos about planets in our solar system. YouTube registered that I like space videos and kept on suggesting more space-related channels. This is how I stumbled upon a group of people from the SciShow Space channel. I later subscribed to a couple more channels led by really cool people who talked about space exclusively, or at least sometimes. At one point, Phil Plait of Crash Course Astronomy suggested in his video on telescopes,
find an observatory, planetarium, or local astronomy club.
So, I did an online search for a Dubai Astronomy Club and found the Dubai Astronomy Group. With the Dubai Astronomy Group in summer 2019, I've observed planets Jupiter and Saturn, as well as a partial lunar eclipse. I even managed to share my interest with my mom. We witnessed an annular solar eclipse together from the Burj Khalifa. That was in December 2019. Unfortunately, I've never been to a stargazing party at the Al Qudra Desert because I don't drive. Driving in Dubai is crazy. Well, it's not that crazy, but this is how I feel about driving in Dubai. Of course, I could always find a ride, but there is a bigger problem. I need to sleep 9 hours a day. That's why I aim to be in bed by 10 o'clock at night. Because I feel sleepy quite early in the evening, heading out late at night far from home is not quite the best idea. I always left for home way before the end of the observation events in Mushrif Park. By the way, I once could not fall asleep at night after reading a Wikipedia entry about the star named Algol. Apparently, the star is named after an ancient mythical creature that feasts on human bodies at cemeteries. I was adult enough, only at 40, to watch The Terminator and Aliens, and here I am learning about holes at 9:30 at night. Anyway, in November 2019, I was wide awake in the afternoon to witness planet Mercury transiting the Sun. And in June 2020, I witnessed a partial solar eclipse from the window of my apartment while I was working in the kitchen. That was relatively soon after the COVID-19 lockdown ended. By the way, during the lockdown, I had to produce a couple of videos for my students. This got me less anxious about being on camera. And then I got inspired by all the YouTubers producing videos about subjects they were passionate about. For my first public video about what makes news interesting to people, I used a lot of footage by the United States Space Agency NASA. So, how do we write this story? Let's imagine this story will be published on the website of the Dubai Astronomy Group. As a piece of public relations writing, it will need to achieve communication goals of the group, some of which are to promote astronomy locally and internationally, and to discover, promote, and archive Arab astronomical heritage. We'll need to keep this in mind while writing. After you've interviewed a source, please reread your notes. Is there a common theme in what your subject told you?
And something that would become a recurring theme throughout Alan Shepard's life, he had to wait because the Navy had a policy.
Such common theme could hold your story together just like a thread holds a necklace. Some time ago, I interviewed a young actor who grew up in my hometown. At the time of the interview, he had worked on 2 relatively big movies. His uniqueness was in his ability to perform his own stunts. He did his stunts in both movies. So, in my draft outline for the story, I could split my narration into blocks discussing him as an actor and as a stunt person in the 2 movies. In the case with the member of the Dubai Astronomy Group, we probably won't be able to have a common theme, but we still need to come up with something more interesting than just retelling the story from start to finish. But what could be in the beginning if not how my interest in astronomy started? What will be in the lead? For the feature stories, we tend to think about the lead as a hook. Some people even call the lead a hook. I don't have a proper hook, so I will use this paperclip to represent a hook. We use the hook to attract our readers' attention to the story, to get them hooked on the story. A good way to start a feature story is to use the news value of proximity. People are interested in stories that happen in the area close to them. In a story about the local actor, my editor and I used the actor's connection to our hometown. Club goers in Kostroma and Yaroslavl know him by his stage name, Roman Kurtsyn. Please note that this is not the exact translation of the lead the way it was published, but what you see on the screen communicates the meaning of the lead relatively well. Another news value that works well for attracting attention to the story is the news value of novelty. So what's unique or unusual about the member of the Dubai Astronomy Group? It could be the fact that she likes to sleep. Maybe the lead could be something like, a person who likes to sleep recently took up astronomy as a hobby. Or maybe something a bit naughtier. Yulia Medvedeva struggles to stay awake throughout the entire meeting of the Dubai Astronomy Group. Or maybe a small anecdote that for some reason is also related to sleeping. After reading a Wikipedia article about a star named Algol, Yulia Medvedeva felt so scared she had trouble falling asleep. In the next sentence, we will have to explain why this happened. The star is named after Algol, an Arabic mythology creature that feeds on the bodies of dead people. We can maybe even add a quote as a part of such a lead. I was adult enough only at 40 to watch The Terminator and Aliens, and here I am learning about holes at 9:30 at night, Medvedeva says. To recap, what we are looking at now is called an anecdotal lead. However, instead of starting with an anecdote, we could have started with 3 examples. She observed the planet Saturn through a telescope in Mushrif Park in the company of Dubai stargazers. She witnessed a partial solar eclipse from the top of the Burj Khalifa with her mom. She caught another partial solar eclipse from the window of her apartment with her cat. Again, these 3 examples serve as a hook here. Okay, we cannot spend this entire video on the hook. Time to move on. To connect the hook to the string, we need to tie a knot that will hold the story together. Let me use a thicker string so that the knot could be better seen on screen. So, to connect the hook to the rest of the story, we need to write a nut graph. The use of a nut graph was promoted back in the mid-1950s by the editors of the newspaper called the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal writers were asked to include early in their feature stories a paragraph summarizing what the story is about. Such a paragraph was initially called the nutshell summary paragraph. Gradually, the nutshell summary paragraph evolved into a nut graph. Although there are no strict rules about nut graphs, a nut graph in a feature story about a person will briefly introduce the person and summarize the main focus of the story. It might also have a sentence explaining why we are writing the story now, which communicates the news value of timeliness. We also want a nut graph that makes it clear why the reader should care about this story. But the person who probably explained the nut graph the best is the Wall Street Journal editor Ken Wells, who described the nut graph as a paragraph that says what the whole story is about and why you should read it. Please recall that in the story about actor Roman Kurtsyn, the lead reads as follows. Clubgoers in Kostroma and Yaroslavl know him by his stage name, Roman Fiery. In the nut graph that will follow such a lead, I could remind the readers that Roman Kurtsyn is originally from my hometown, the place where my readers live. I can then say that his second big movie will be coming out soon. Finally, I can state what the story is about, a specific focus of the story. We call it the angle of the story. With all this information written up, the nut graph will read as: his real name, Roman Kurtsyn, appears in the credits for the TV series The Champion that's been airing on STS since spring. In November, he'll co-star in a historical show The Road to Mangazeya. Kostroma man Kurtsyn now calls Yaroslavl his home, but while in Kostroma, he schedules an interview at Stometrovka supermarket where he shops for supplies for his stunt performers group. Kurtsyn is a rare feat in the Russian movie industry. He combines acting with performing his own stunts. Let's dissect this nut graph. The first two sentences tell us why the story is timely. One movie is already out, and another will be released in a couple of months from now. The third sentence states that Kurtsyn still has a connection with the place where the readers are. We are also tying Kurtsyn to Kostroma by mentioning a popular supermarket famous for its low prices. That's a news value of proximity. Finally, we are hinting what the story is about, being an actor and a stunt performer at the same time. Hopefully, the readers in Kostroma will be interested in learning more about a versatile actor whom they may bump into at Stometrovka and see in a movie in November. Let's get back to the story about the Dubai Astronomy Group member. We have 4 versions of the lead, and I will probably go with the third one about the star that has a scary name. I'm choosing this lead for now because in this lead I'm already telling a little bit about the personality of the interviewee, she doesn't like scary stuff, and I'm partially fulfilling the Dubai Astronomy Group's goal of promoting the Arab astronomical heritage. We will need to explain why some stars have Arabic names, but for now, let's simply reread the lead. After reading a Wikipedia article about a star named Algol, Yulia Medvedeva felt so scared she had trouble falling asleep. The star is named after Algol, an Arabic mythology creature that feeds on the bodies of dead people. I was adult enough only at 40 to watch The Terminator and Aliens, and here I am learning about holes at 9:30 at night, Medvedeva says. Now, we need to write a nut graph that will tell the readers who is Yulia Medvedeva, why people should care about her, and what the story is about. And this is where I can just copy and paste this sentence that some of my students use as a lead when they are just learning how to write feature stories. Yulia Medvedeva is a teacher at Zayed University in Dubai. But I'm going to change this sentence a bit. We already named her by her full name in the lead, so now we are going to address her in the nut graph only by the last name, Medvedeva. We can also add her age here, 41, and instead of a teacher, I'd clarify a bit what she teaches, news writing at Zayed University in Dubai. Medvedeva, who is 41, teaches news writing at Zayed University in Dubai. There's one more fact you always need to add when writing about people residing in the United Arab Emirates: where this person is from. This is because about 90% of the people living here are foreigners. So in the NAT graph, I'd say, a citizen of the Russian Federation, Medvedeva, who is 41, teaches news writing at Zayed University in Dubai. Now, let's maybe explain how long she has been with the Dubai Astronomy Group, because this connects Medvedeva to the club. She joined the Dubai Astronomy Group in July 2019. Next, what this story is about. What's the angle? Here we really need to know what's the rest of the story going to be. Let's look at the interview notes again. What I see here is a woman learning about astronomy and exploring the Emirate of Dubai in the process. Her interest in astronomy started with explaining the rules of magazine design to her students. It continued with watching YouTube videos, and it culminates with the creation of her own videos that use astronomy-related examples for explanation of how to write news stories. So the last sentence of the NAT graph about her could be maybe: her interest in astronomy led her to learn a bit more about the place where she lives and even about how to improve her teaching. So this NAT graph informs the readers that the subject of this personal profile is a teacher from Russia in Dubai. We then tell the readers that Medvedeva is a relatively new member of the Dubai Astronomy Group. And finally, the story focuses on her learning more about the United Arab Emirates and even about her profession. Now, when the hook is connected to the thread of the story with a solid NAT graph, let's build the body of the story. In the case of Roman Kurtsyn's story, we will tell about his experiences in acting roles. Let's say this bead is a subheadline in the feature about Kurtsyn. The subheadline will be somehow related to his acting work. Let's use the beads of the same kind for the paragraphs that discuss the same topic. So maybe this paragraph will talk about his role in the movie that will be aired in November. And this paragraph will be about the role in The Champion, which has already been aired. Maybe this paragraph will discuss how is it like to portray an antagonist. Maybe next we will describe what the acting mentor of Roman Kurtsyn thinks about Roman's acting skills. Unfortunately, in reality, I never managed to get in touch with the mentor, but I made in this bead anyway because I really wanted the mentor's opinion in the story. Alright, after that we will talk about Kurtsyn's stunt work. This bead is for a subhead. Then the beads of a different kind because that's a separate topic. We will aim to add the opinion of Kurtsyn's stunt colleague about Kurtsyn's skills and about his leadership for the stunt performers group. We will then talk about the challenges of combining both professions. First, a subhead for this. Then we could talk about why actors performing their own stunts are so rare. Then we could ask Kurtsyn's fiancée, actress Anna Nazarova, about how she feels when Roman kisses other actresses for his movie roles. She does feel jealous, but she understands this is a part of the job. But how does she feel on days when Roman performs stunts? In a word, she is worried out of her mind, but does not share her anxiety with Roman to avoid jinxing. We'll end this story with the place Kostroma holds in Kurtsyn's life now. After a couple of paragraphs, the last sentence will inform the readers that after the interview in Stometrovka's cafeteria, Roman Kurtsyn leaves the supermarket to head to Yaroslavl. When we can, we link the ending of a feature story with the beginning. This is to lock the necklace, so to speak. But even if we cannot end the story with the same topic as the one that started the story, we ideally should end the story with a thought that will leave our readers thinking. It's okay to end with a quote, or to state how the hero of the story sees their future, kind of what's next for them in life. Overall, we expect the reader to read the story till the very end, and that end should be worth reading. And this is how the feature story structure works. Now, back to the story about the member of the Dubai Astronomy Group. This is how the story looks so far. We have a lead and a NAT graph. The first bead in the story after the nut graph could be devoted to explaining why some stars have Arabic names. Medvedeva learned that many stars, such as Algol, Aldebaran, and Fomalhaut, have Arabic names because Arab scholars studied astronomy for their use in everyday life, such as for navigating by the stars. At the same time, during the Middle Ages, sciences were forbidden in Europe. This is why astronomers in the Middle East could name their discoveries in Arabic. This paragraph, together with the lead, is now meeting the goal of the Dubai Astronomy Group about promoting the Arab astronomical heritage. We could then talk about the Dubai Astronomy Group events that Medvedeva attended. With the Dubai Astronomy Group, Medvedeva observed Saturn and Jupiter as well as the Moon in summer 2019. She also saw a partial lunar eclipse and a transit of planet Mercury over the surface of the Sun. These events took place at the Dubai Astronomy Group Observatory in Mushrif Park. Okay, let's mention the solar eclipse at the Burj Khalifa. One observation event organized by the Dubai Astronomy Group took Medvedeva and her mom to the Burj Khalifa. My mom was visiting Dubai and I told her I need to wake up at 5 in the morning tomorrow to see a partial solar eclipse at the Burj Khalifa, Medvedeva says. And my mom said, I'd like to join. Now, when we showed a couple of examples of how Medvedeva explored Dubai with the Dubai Astronomy Group, let's explain why Medvedeva skips some of the events organized by the Astronomy Group. The Dubai Astronomy Group members also go to the Al Qudra Desert to observe the stars. Going to the desert allows seeing the stars better because there is less light pollution. But Medvedeva never managed to join because she doesn't drive, and worst of all, she falls asleep early at night. That's a bit of a problem, Medvedeva says. She says she gets sleepy at 11 p.m. and some of the night events start at 10 p.m. and finish at 2 a.m. Now, how did she get interested in astronomy? Medvedeva got interested in astronomy after reading Majarat, a magazine produced by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Space Center. After finishing all the Majarats she had, she started watching YouTube videos about space exploration. Next, how did she find the Dubai Astronomy Group? In his crash course astronomy videos on YouTube, astronomer Phil Plait advised aspiring astronomers to find a local astronomy club. So I did an online search for Dubai Astronomy Club and found the Dubai Astronomy Group, Medvedeva says. By the way, here we mentioned a great YouTube course about astronomy for those who might be interested in astronomy but cannot join the Dubai Astronomy Group. This is for the Dubai Astronomy Group's goal of promoting astronomy locally and internationally. Finally, Medvedeva's YouTube channel. At the Dubai Astronomy Group events, Medvedeva saw that people of all ages are interested in astronomy. When she was watching YouTube videos, she noticed that YouTubers use photos and videos produced by the United States Space Agency NASA. She learned that NASA allows using most of their photos and videos without permission. I knew that I could explain to students how to write news by showing them the process of writing, Medvedeva says. But I didn't know where I can get footage of news to use as examples. In summer 2020, Medvedeva started a news writing YouTube channel. She uses the NASA space exploration footage in her examples. Astronomy news is interesting to so many people because we all stand on one planet Earth looking up to the stars and wondering about the secrets of the universe, Medvedeva says. Now, when the story is done, we should check if the story is the one we promised in the nut graph. In addition, because this is a public relations piece, we will also check if we reached our public relations goals. And this brings us to the end of this video. In this video we learned how to make a necklace, very badly. We also learned how to write a feature story about a person. We learned that we start with a soft news lead that will encourage the readers to keep on reading the story. We will then continue with the nut graph. Let me cheat a bit here and simply quote Ken Wells of the Wall Street Journal again. The nut graph is a paragraph that says what this whole story is about and why you should read it. We then deliver what we promised in the nut graph. The ending is important and could be about the same facts as in the lead, but this is not a must. But the ending must be memorable. This video was created by me, Yulia Medvedeva. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching.